with a chance, with a chance, with a chance, with a chance. When the crowd gets busted, when the floor gets dusty, when your blade gets rusted, with a chance, with a chance. When your room smells funny, when a hex takes your money, what's gonna save you, honey? Just with a chance, with a chance. All you witches and all you old magicians, it's time to start listening to with a chance, with a chance. When the floor gets dusty, when your blade gets rusted, with a chance, with a chance. When your room smells funny, when a hex takes your money, what's gonna save you, honey? Just with a chance, with a chance. All you witches and all you old magicians, it's time to start listening to with a chance, with a chance. With a chance, with a chance, with a chance, with a chance.
Froggy Fresh 2012. Yeah, we back up in this. Y'all already know. Cause I am the baddest of them all. If you ain't about money, then I don't mess with y'all. Y'all think I don't get girls, cause I ain't very tall. If she see my stacks, I bet you that she calls. You know that I am the baddest of them all. If you ain't about money, then I don't mess with y'all. Y'all think I don't get girls, cause I ain't very tall. If she see my stacks, I bet you that she calls. I had to fight my whole life. I could beat you up even if you had 1,000 knives. Even if you had infinity knives, I would punch you up into the air like a kite. I bet you sleep with the night light, cause you're scared of the dark, cause you stink like a fart. Well, I like your fart on fire with my rhymes. You think I won't? I do it all the time. I bet I got more money than Jay-Z. Compared to me, Jay-Z is lazy. Plus Beyonce thinks that I'm cute. It's okay, Beyonce, I think you're cute too. I made out with so many girls. I made out with every girl in the world. I might look small, but I'm not. I don't care if you're big, I'll fight you. Well, I do know that I am the baddest of them all. If you ain't about money, then I don't mess with y'all. Y'all think I don't get girls, cause I ain't very tall. If she see my stats, I bet you that she calls. That I am the baddest of them all. If you ain't about money, then I don't mess with y'all. Y'all think I don't get girls, cause I ain't very tall. If she see my stacks, I bet you that she calls. I have 400 cars, I have 400 scars and 400 guitars. I have 400 houses, I have 400 mouses and 400 houses. Bet you I can dance better than you. I bet you don't know 2 plus 2. It's 4, it's 4. Now go and shut the door, cause nobody wants to see your face no more. I'm tough as nails, you're slower than a snail. I beat up every single person in jail. I dare you to try and punch me. My face is so hard you'll say, ouch, you crunched me. I fought 2 lions and 1. And I don't even carry a gun, but I never run. But I never run. but I never run. You know that I am the baddest of them all. If you ain't about money, then I don't mess with y'all. Y'all think I don't get girls, cause I ain't very tall. If she see my stats, I bet you that she cold. You know that I am the baddest of them all. If you ain't about money, then I don't mess with y'all. Y'all think I don't get girls, cause I ain't very tall. If she see my stacks, I bet you that she calls. Froggy Fresh. I already told you back up in this 2012 to infinity. Get out of here. Peace.
Good evening. I would like to report on the state of our war against the American people. We're mounting a sustained campaign to crack down on every American and every person of every faith and every nation, and to bring them to justice. All missions are being executed according to plan, without warning or provocation. Americans are being swept up in an international dragnet. Thousands of FBI agents are on the trail of other citizens here and abroad. It has everything to do with hate and evil and murder and prejudice. America's strong.
Federal agents, we are armed!
What would you do if you knew all the things we knew? Would you stand up for truth? Or would you turn away too? And then what if you saw all of the things that's wrong? Would you stand tall and strong? Or would you turn and walk away? What would you do if you knew all the things we knew? Would you stand up for truth? Or would you turn away too? And then what if you saw all of the things that's wrong? Would you stand tall and strong? Or would you turn and walk
I see a message from the government. Like every day, I watch it and listen and call them all suckers. They wanted me about Osama or whatever. Picture me buying the scam. I said never. You in tune to a hard truth soldier spitting. I stay committed, gives a fuck to die, I lose commission. It's all a part of fighting devil state mind control, and all about the battle for your body, mind, and soul. And now I'm hoping you don't close your mind so they shape you. Don't forget they made us slaves, gave us AIDS and raped us. Another Bush season mean another war for profit. All in secret so the public never seek to stop it. The Illuminati, 666, all connected. Stole the votes, they control the race and take elections. It's the Skull and Bones Freemason Kill Committee. See the dragon getting shittier in every city.
What would you do if you knew all the things we knew? Would you stand up for truth? Or would you turn away too? And then what if you saw all of the things that's wrong? Would you stand tall and strong? Or would you turn and walk away?
Now ask yourself who's the one with the most to gain. For 9/11, motherfuckers couldn't stand his name. Now even niggas waving flags like they lost their mind. Everybody got opinions but don't know the time. Cause America's been took, it's plain to see. The oldest trick in the book is making enemy. A phony evil so the government can do its dirt and take away your freedom, lock and load, beat and search. Ain't nothing changed but more colored people locked in prison. These pigs still beat us, but it seems we forgetting. But I remember 4 September how these devils do it. Fuck Giuliani, ask Diallo how he doing. We in the streets, holler jail to the thief. Follow, fuck waving flags, bring these dragons to their knees. Oil, blood, money, make these killers ride cold. Suspicious suicide, people dying, never told. It's all a part of playing God, so you think we need them. While being Ashcroft, take away your rights to freedom. Bear witness to the sickness of these dictators. Hope you understand the time, brother, cause it's major.
What would you do if you knew all the things we knew? Would you stand up for truth? Or would you turn away too? And then what if you saw all of the things that's wrong? Would you stand tall and strong? Or would you turn and walk away?
So now you asking why my records always come the same. Keep it real, ain't no fillers, motherfucker blinging. Mine eyes seen the gory of the coming of the beast. So every story, every word I'm saying, fuck peace. See, you could witness the Illuminati body count. Don't be surprised, these is devils that I'm talking about. You think a couple thousand lies mean shit to killers? Nigga, I swear to God, we the ones, ain't no villains or any other word, they think to demonize a country. Ain't no terror threat unless approval rating slumping. So I'ma say it for the record, we the ones that planned it. Ain't no other country took a part or had their hand in. Just a way to keep you scary so you think you need them. Praising Bush while that killer take away your freedom. How many of us got discovered but ignore the symptoms? Niggas talking loud but ain't nobody saying shit. And with the Fourth Amendment gone, eyes are on the first. That's why I'm spitting cyanide each and every verse. I see the Carlisle group and Harris bank accounts. I see them plead the fifth each and every session now. And while Reichstag burns, see the public buy it. I see the profiling, see the media's compliance. War's good for business, see the vicious make a savior. Hope you understand the time, brother, cause it's major.
What would you do if you knew all the things we knew? Would you stand up for truth? Or would you turn away too? And then what if you saw all of the things that's wrong? Would you stand tall and strong? Or would you turn and walk away? What would you do if you knew all the things we knew? Would you stand up for truth? Or would you turn away too? And then what if you saw all of the things that's wrong? Would you stand tall and strong? Or would you turn and walk away?
You can't imagine how much money they've spent trying to silence good people who have put their lives on the line to fight for change.
Paris on Witterson's Radio. Witterson's Radio for your spiritual side. A twisted approach to the left-hand path and all of the paths in between. And we are, I think we're on the tail end of our Witchcon marathon. On our almost every day, some days, and some days twice a day.
I think we only had to do that once.
We only had to do that one time, but still, we did that because we can. Because prior to that, we were only giving y'all the tip of our package.
Yep.
Which our package, is much larger, as you might imagine. And it allows us to go on the air 3 hours per day, unlimited times per day. So literally, if we had no life, we could just go 24/7.
Yeah, I mean, if we felt like it,
it's
we
like,
could.
maybe, we want to get crazy for Hex Fest, we could do that. Do an all-day fucking Hex Fest, fucking fest. Like, we have some of the same people on.
This summer?
Yeah, like before Hex Fest.
Okay.
But anyway,
Yeah.
we're getting ready for Witchcon, which is like right around the corner. It's March 1st right now. Shit's starting like on the 5th. Was it this weekend?
Well,
really?
the opening ritual is on Friday,
Yeah.
which I believe is the 5th, and then the workshops are Saturday and Sunday.
And us doing this crazy thing, we've been fortunate to meet some very fascinating people.
Yeah.
And learn some fascinating things.
Yep.
There was like a death midwife the other day. I
Yes.
never knew what that was.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But our guest tonight, definitely fascinating. You want to tell us a bit about her and her work? We bring her on?
Well, we have Diana, and you're going to have to help me
I'm saying Rajchel.
with your last name. How do you pronounce it?
It's Rachel, just like the first name. It even translates to the same.
Oh, okay.
Rachel.
Okay, Rachel.
just like Rachel. Okay.
Yeah, Diana Rachel.
We gave you like a French thing. It was like Rajchel earlier.
Or like Rajchel.
Yeah.
We went around and around.
Rachel.
Yeah, people keep trying to do that, but no, I'm Polish American, so definitely not French as much as I like the food.
Tell us a bit about her.
Okay, so I remember meeting you at.
yes, Merry Meet Again.
Yeah.
Yes,
we went to
Merry
Hex
Again.
Fest for the first time in 2019, which was the last time it was in person.
Yeah.
And we were at Potions. I think it was the first, like right after the riverboat ritual. We were at Potions. There weren't really that many people there anymore. And I don't even remember why I started talking to you, but I just started talking to you, and we talked about San Francisco.
Yeah, because I am splitting my residence between San Francisco and Kalamazoo right now.
Okay.
At the time, I was full-time in San Francisco when you met me, and I was there with my friend Jennifer, who really wants to move to New Orleans and was trying to talk me into moving there with her at the time. So
it worked on us. Well, we weren't even planning on moving here, but we just liked it so much that God. So we were there in August, and by mid-January we were already here.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was August, and by
Okay, if you
November
were
we were here looking for a house.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
If you were sold on the August weather, then yeah.
Well, you know,
He loves it.
I actually, because we were in Los Angeles, which is really, really dry, and I can deal with the heat as long as there's humidity. I have to have humidity, and I'm totally fine with it. So I love it. I'm thriving here.
Yeah, I was enjoying the humidity because I realized that I can drink more in humid weather because it sweats out faster for me. But probably not. That's the reason to shift my lifestyle there.
I hadn't thought of it that way, but yeah, it worked out for us. We definitely drank more. I think we spent most of our time at Potions.
Yeah, well, we were only there for, just for the duration of Hex Fest. We got there on Friday, and we were leaving early Monday morning, so, we didn't go to a whole lot of workshops, or just because we had to check out the town and the food and all that other good stuff. The bars. But we did spend both nights at Potions.
Look, she's in the Mars chamber, too. We'll talk about the class later, but I was just noticing, I'm teaching magical warfare. And they put me in the Mars chamber. I said, oh, that's apropos. Nice job, guys.
Yeah.
So, you had I'm not sure when you released it, but you have a book out called Urban Magic, A Guide for the City Witch. When did that come out?
That came out last year. It's actually coming up on its first birthday in 7 days. It was released March 8th, so...
Okay.
I released a book, did my first little mini launch party in San Francisco, I was going to fly to PaganaCon the next weekend because my hometown is Minneapolis, and we had a big book launch party, and there's a 20% pagan population there. It's a great place to do a book launch, especially with a lot of the publishing industry moving to the Twin Cities. And I ended up changing plans because PaganaCon got canceled, and as the COVID rates were starting to rise, and I was thinking I needed to pay attention to this thing. So I changed my flight plans to meet up with this person that I'd met at Convocation the week after PantheaCon. And and it was the thing, we'd been talking and kind of vibing, and they came down to pick me up, and I got there, and within 2 days, San Francisco had gone shelter in place, and my flight got moved. And 2 days later, Michigan went shelter in place, which is where I am. And so it was just I guess we need to see if this thing works. So right now, because I do have a business in San Francisco that I've been working on with a dear friend for several years that we're trying to get off the ground, and life just kept happening. And then, so like for me, the 2020 was such a clusterfuck for everyone else. Am I allowed to swear on the show?
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
Okay. Well, I was looking at that. That you got a metaphysical shop in San Francisco. I mean, that used to be like the best stomping ground. Like you get off at Haight Ashbury, and there was like 5 of the best occult stores in the world, like back in the 80s, within walking distance, and they all just went belly up. I think somewhere in the 90s, it's like in the 90s when we had the Craft and Practical Magic, and then Charm. There was all this stuff like, making more witches. Some of them it's just a trend, and some of them actually stick. But almost all of the really good shops in San Francisco just like went under. So it's good to hear somebody's still doing it over there.
Is it a brick and mortar?
It is not a brick and mortar yet. This is our long-term plan. Right now, we're very much in the startup phase, and our intention is to open a place in San Francisco. Partly to honor that history, because the tech boom and gentrification wiped a lot of stuff out. So, I am a huge urban and city magic nerd, so I can explain like all of the economic intricacies that happen there, along with nobody really teaches the witchcraft to business planning, which means very few people have gone to figure it out on their own. And so I moved in with my ex-wife at the height of the Silicon Valley boom, the latest one. So everything is still wildly overpriced and crashing wildly because it needs to. So we're just kind of waiting for the blocks to stop tumbling, so we can gather things and kind of rebuild. But in the meantime, we're working online because that's easier with me across the country right now.
Right.
And it's easier for her because we both have kids. We both, I'm a full-time writer, and she's a full-time frontline worker. So This is just, we're doing what we can as we can to put it together. And we want to make sure it's, because we really believe that there's a place for everyone, for every kind of business, for every line. And so what we're doing is trying to shape Golden Apple into not necessarily an all paths, and it's definitely not going to be your typical white light crystal shop. It's going to be a store for spirit workers and for people who haven't really have metaphysical things going on in their lives, but don't necessarily feel comfortable with or fit in the better known paths as they're outlined now.
Okay. Yeah, we have a lot of, not a lot left actually, but we lived in Santa Cruz for about 25 years, and we still have some friends there. So I still kind of, try to keep dibs on what's going on there. And it's just so insane. Like, you look at the rentals, like a really, really tiny studio will be like $2,200, and a lot of people want it. And it's crazy. And I know that's happening in, or that happened in SF too. Yeah. So, would you say, like, just from what you've seen, because I haven't been to SF in a really long time, but has it really obviously changed because of that?
Again, because I ended up leaving at the beginning of the pandemic, so the biggest changes have been since 2020. And I got there in 2014. I'd lived in Minneapolis for 12 years before that. And so I came in when I kind of felt like I was walking in just as the hungover people were leaving the party. So a lot of what has made San Francisco and San Francisco's culture so famous was gone by the time I got there. So one of the things I was doing, because I was finding these pockets of people that had managed to hang on, and there's a surprising number of San Franciscan expatriates in Minneapolis who kept going, "Oh, you remind me of home. Oh, you'd be such a good fit for the city." Well, no, because all y'all in Minneapolis. And so what I did, because I was noticing that some of it was this almost poisonous generation gap, where there are especially younger magic workers coming in who have some really good shit to share. The problem is, because there's this elder culture mentality that if you're younger, what you say doesn't have value, or that what you have to say has more value just because you're older, rather than just evaluating the information as it is. And, plus there's just some, on top of it, there's some Silicon Valley little shits who did not have any respect for the culture or history of that city that came in. And you can't tell who's who without talking to them. So I was seeing these pagan elders getting angry at these younger kids just because they're younger without actually talking to them to find out. And of course these kids are afraid to say anything to the older people, and I happen to come in and I'm a Gen Xer, so I thought that I may have been the only Gen Xer in the city for a while there. That turned out not to be true. I happened to into a group of girlfriends, which finding women friends in San Francisco now is rare. It's a very male dominated population, so finding a group of girlfriends was fantastic. And within my age range, so we could all kind of look at both sides of this going, okay, we could leave y'all to fight it out, or we could do something about this. And so I ended up starting what came to be known as the Emperor Norton Magical Folk Social. And I named it that way because I didn't want it to be explicitly pagan paths. I wanted it to be all magical paths. I didn't want it to be explicitly left or right-handed. And so I have gotten to see, since I started this, it has closed a lot more of the generation gap since I started that group, and we've managed to keep it going during the pandemic with Zoom meetings and check-ins. And for the people that are in the Bay Area, they do find ways to do drive-bys and check on each other. So it's turned into a really good supportive community. I'm really happy with that. And that has everything to do with my business partner, Nikki, kind of taking up the reins since I ended up here. And
so she's still in SF?
Yeah, she's still in SF. Okay. She's over on San Bruno side now. She was living in Pacifica when I left, and life happened. So, but she is still in the Bay Area and keeping it together. So this is part of how we're working things out together. And Jennifer, who I think you've met, she's the one that goes to Hexfest. She's still in SF. And she's a firefighter, so there's always some concern for her because she's always...
Oh, wait. Oh,
JL?
Jennifer, yeah. So okay.
Yeah, you remember
okay. Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Yeah, she's
one
a
of the few
firefighter.
people to have been to our house.
Yeah, she's actually, even after COVID started, we're super careful and, we mask and everything, but she's been over here twice
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The first time with her kids and the second time with her husband. So, yeah, she's been talking to us about wanting to move here, too. But you know, I don't remember meeting Jennifer last year.
Well, I remember we asked her when we first met her. It's like, okay, what's the J? You know, we're not going to call you JL.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying I don't remember meeting her during Hex Fest.
Oh, meeting her.
Yeah,
I
well,
thought
just
that's
like,
where
you know,
we did
just
meet her.
look around, yeah, just look around the room for the last person on Earth that you would imagine throwing somebody over their shoulder and carrying them out of a building, and that's her.
Yeah.
Wow. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, we met a lot of people at Hexfest, and you know, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't remember most of them. Cause, you know, we spent most of our time at Potions. All of the people whose workshops I wanted to see were at like 9 a.m. and shit, and there was you're out
there's
till,
no way.
You know, 3 or 4 drinking
way.
at Potions. You're not going to make it. So,
and for us, it was a rare outing anyway because you know, my aunt was watching our son in L.A. and our dog was being boarded. So, and we can't. Our dog doesn't really let us go anywhere without him. And now we have 2 dogs that won't let us go anywhere without him. But
it's complicated.
So it was really like a huge vacation for us because we don't really get to stay out late very often.
Yeah, I can see why. Yeah.
Well, especially now. But
I wonder, what was the
new book?
The newer book.
Yeah, you have a new one coming
that
up.
One, I mean, that one caught my attention before I even knew it was you.
Yeah, hex twisting, counter magic spells for the irritated witch, I think.
Yeah, hex twisting, counter magic spells for the irritated witch. It is on pre-order now. Mm-hmm. So for people that like to support authors, pre-ordering helps us with all kinds of stuff. So please do, whether you do that through Amazon or through your preferred retailer. But it is, I thought that's been catching a lot of people's attention, and that was, I kind of went through some stuff over the last 5 years, and it ended up forcing me to, I tend to be fairly creative because I think of spell work and magic as a way of thinking rather than necessarily a specific set of traditions or formulas. And that mentality ended up coming in handy for a lot of stuff because, you know, I don't like to start fights, but I tend to finish them. And there is something about me where some people just want to find out what they can do.
Right.
And
yes. And I always admire that.
That's what we like about Christian.
We've talked about, our host. It's like the thing that people dislike about him is what I admire. It's like he never draws first blood. He draws last blood in a very eloquent way. Mm-hmm. It's like art. It's like the art of horror.
Yes.
but I've never seen him start it. I appreciate that. I never start it, but known to finish it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I am definitely on the finisher side. It's the, you know, honestly, I just want to garden and read books and write stuff, and people just get up in my business, and I get so irritated.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Has anybody gotten up in your business for doing Witchcon?
I prefer not to comment too much on that, but there are some people that have had some feelings, and I've given them their space. So
well, see, I found that most of the people that have said yes are they were all women. And several of them were teaching things that, you know, might have sounded, you know, kind of more white lighty. And maybe they're the type of people that can't defend themselves. The people that were involved in this kind of thing, I'm calling them bullies. Because the guy here who's teaching magical warfare, nobody said shit. Nobody has said a damn thing. Nobody.
Well, I think they know that you're like actually friends with Christian.
And there's that too. But there are other people that are friends with him that have been approached by this.
Yeah, that's true.
This crap. It's like, my take is that Witchcon was something that somebody else once did. It was a name that wasn't doing anything. There were some people thinking about using the name someday, perhaps. And then Christian Day comes along, and he's a guy that just makes stuff happen. And I remember when he called me up and was talking about, you know, I'm going to do this thing. This is the largest magical online conference in the world. And go, yeah, you do that thing. You do that thing. Do you want to be at the thing? Yeah, well, yeah, I want to be at the thing. Of course I want to be at the thing. And 2 days later, he was at like 75 of the most epic presenters that I've ever run across. the guy makes stuff happen. And I think there's just some people out there that don't make stuff happen, that wish they could make stuff happen, that are jealous because he's making stuff happen. It's epic. I can't believe that the people we're teaching alongside, we won't actually meet them, except maybe in the Zoom thing. But, like Lori Cabot, I've known her name my entire witch life.
I don't know
she
if
was
they're
the
having
first
like
witchcraft. She wrote the first witchcraft book I ever read, so I was kind of drooling over that one because I know that for people that attend Witchcon, there's going to be an on-demand library after, but there's so many things where I want to be there live to ask people questions, because Saturday I'm not going to be able to do too much because I'm teaching my class, and I'm going to be teaching it out of, I don't know how familiar you are with the history of Michigan, but I'm going to be teaching it out of Element's Lavender Door at the Rainbow Farm. So the Rainbow Farm was shut down. I can't remember what the decade was, for marijuana farming, and it was a big deal. It was kind of violent with the government, and the original owners have reclaimed it. And the woman that owns Elements was involved with that farm, so she's reopening a second occult shop there, and she's having her grand opening during WitchCon. So she's agreed to let me teach my WitchCon class out of that space.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
I might be in the backyard. I'm not sure where I'm going to do it yet.
Yeah.
But I've I don't know if you've done anything yet. Like they have the Hex Education Network is using Crowdcast. Hexfest used it. So I'm pretty sure it's very similar to what we did like last year. It's pretty easy to do. I actually want to see if I can do it on my phone. My phone has a better microphone and camera.
So when is the book actually set to come out for release?
The book, it is, my editor said this fall. I think the release date was November 8th, so apparently I'm matching, apparently Llewellyn has decided my numerology is 8 somewhere. So officially the release is November 8th, so it's this fall.
Okay.
So, and I'm the person who wrote the Samhain and Maven books from the Llewellyn Sabbath Rituals, the little books. So I suspect it's because that falls like right after the big rush to get my Samhain and Maven books, because the millennials and the zennials are absolutely crazy for those books. So I suspect it's just a good time to go, oh, hey, this author's also doing this other thing. Where you're reading all these lovely rituals and the ancestor veneration, and then you get my book on how to magically kneecap someone. So it's a way of rounding it out.
So what?
Wait, I was going to ask the publisher on that one.
What?
It's Llewellyn.
Yeah, Llewellyn.
Okay.
It's Llewellyn. I've noticed that Llewellyn has taken something of a shift since Carl Weschke died, so there's more stuff. I don't think anything has full-on crossed the cursing line, but there's been, let's just say, a little more diversity.
Now that you're saying it, I don't know why I wasn't shocked. What?
Yeah.
Llewellyn?
Yeah.
Wow, that is different Llewellyn than I grew up with. Yeah, nice.
It's very different people now, because I think that Sandra Weschke stepped down as publisher too, but I don't know, I've been dealing with my own life. I haven't been reading Publishers Weekly, which is basically the gossip rag for people in the publishing industry, and whatever's going on there, I have no idea. But it does seem like there's been, especially with the orange one, and I refuse to give that fucker any power by saying his name.
Yeah.
But with that whole orange nonsense, a lot of people have had a shift in maybe I do need to kick someone's ass.
Yeah.
And I think that the resistance magic and just what people were experiencing in their own lives, and that I think that they finally go, because think about it, Conjure Hoodoo, a lot of these older magics, cursing was part of life, because the people that created those magics were in situations that were bad enough they needed those tools of survival. And I think that with everything everyone has been through in the past decade, they're getting that shift of consciousness where suddenly they're getting a whole lot more empathy for the other people that have had to come up with this stuff. Because, oh, shit, I am out of all the tools that are supposed to serve me. I have to go create some.
Well, I'm often schooling these people. I spend a lot of time on pages full of new witches, and I do it on TikTok too, and I just go live and I do this thing called Ask Uncle Birch Q&A. And I remember a bunch of stuff that a lot of people don't remember anymore. It's really my one trick. And the oldest book that we have on witchcraft, it's good, it's bad, it's ugly, it's a big mixed bag, but it's Ardea Gospel of the Witches. And in that book, the witches of Tuscany, somewhere in the 1300s, are calling upon Diana to free them from the slavery of the Catholic Church and to bring her daughter Aradia down to cause Ardea, to cause a revolt against that church. It's like witchcraft, as far as we know, the oldest record we have of any book ever written on it was political. It's the language of the oppressed trying to get justice in a system that's rigged against them. So everywhere we got a folk magic, everywhere we got a witchcraft, it's always the peasants doing it. Well, occasionally the ceremonialists too. But
yeah. Well, the ceremonialists were researchers, from what I understood. Sometimes with a little too much ego, which is why they would occasionally get bit, not just by demons, but by angels. So,
yeah.
You know, and between a pissed off demon or a pissed off angel, a pissed off demon is a lot easier to get to settle down.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your personal practice.
So, for lack of a better term, I call myself a spirit worker, although I will jokingly say I'm a recovering Wiccan. So it's just kind of how things have evolved for me. Is, you know, back in the 90s, I did do an American Eclectic initiation and an initiation with the coven centered out of England a few years later, and I did go through to the third degree, but it got to a point where. So, how familiar are you with the concept of neurotheology?
Neurotheology?
There is a lesser-known study of neurology that looks at religion as something that you may or may not be neurologically inclined to on a spectrum not dissimilar to the Kinsey scale. And just as your orientation actually can and will shift throughout your life, although there are many social factors that will keep you constrained, the same thing can happen with religious inclination. So, you know, for me, I am definitely spiritual. I definitely believe in divine or a higher power. Even if it's a higher power, I swear on it. And it may not necessarily be a relationship of worship. But for me, I got to this point where that particular religious container no longer fit with my orientation.
Okay.
So I moved out of it. And I know some people, a lot of people I've noticed will take it very personally, because when you get invested in there's a certain level of community management that comes with being invested in what other people believe and do that doesn't necessarily go through a logic check about, does this harm me? Am I losing my faith because of this, etc.? So for me, I didn't really discuss it with anyone. It was just okay, this was a thing for me until it wasn't. And the container went away. The container that Wicca is went away, but the witchcraft never did, and actually grew in different directions. So what I do now is I put myself in spirit work. It can commit.
We just had a Skype lag.
Is everything okay over there?
Yeah, we missed the last sentence, I think.
And I already forgot it because I have Sierra's. So I was simply talking about stepping outside of religion as an explicit container.
Okay.
So for me, I will talk to just about any entity there is, and I would say nowadays, if I had to pick something, it would be somewhere in the spectrum between animist and pantheist. You know, so I will have long talks with Lake Michigan. She will have long talks with me, and you know, when I'm in Ocean Beach, it's the same thing with the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah.
Or occasionally Yamaya wants to come say hi, and that's between her and me. I do not practice Orisha or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's just that spirit has a conversation with me.
Right.
So that's
we
that's
definitely
kind of
have
how,
a relationship with Mississippi, which we
Before
yeah.
that, it was
discovered.
the Pacific Ocean because
Yeah.
we were sea witches or beach witches.
Yeah.
Yeah, we lived like right across from the beach, like 4 houses up for like 10 years. Until the landlady just figured out how much money she could get for that place.
Yeah, I don't even want to think about what it's renting out for now. But yeah, we just it was the furthest move we've ever had to make. So from Los Angeles to New Orleans, but it was the easiest move ever. You know, like there's always some, obstacles and things that go wrong, or they get, put off or postponed, whatever. But this was the easiest move for both of us. So I think that's a good sign.
I'd say the city spirit decided she wanted you and made the room.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And, when we did like a little ritual at the river and stuff just to, have her accept us. And it worked.
So let's
Yeah.
see, you're vending at the virtual Vendorian.
Yeah, the
Is that-
Golden
Apple
Golden
Metaphysical.
Metaphysical.
Yeah, so we'll be offering. It's going to be limited selection because we're still putting some things together. But one of the things will be my Void Scream tea, which is this tea that I make that is composed of a whole bunch of anti-inflammatories and adaptogens that I've been sending to people with various health ailments, and I've been using it for years myself to help me calm down. And I've made medicinal teas for years, and my partner hates them, but they knows they work. And this is one of the few ones that's on that side that doesn't taste bad. So it's one of the more
That's
popular
important.
options. Yeah. And I'm also going to be putting in a few items for invisibility work for anyone that takes my workshop. I'm teaching a class. The class that I'm teaching is invisibility work for immigrants and activists, and I will have some incense and a couple other things that you can have on your body temporarily that don't necessarily take up any space. So if somebody searches you for some reason, hopefully it won't get that far, they won't be easily detectable. And it can be something where you switch it on and off, because it's fine if you want to be invisible and someone from ICE doesn't see you, but it's not so good when you're crossing the street and the driver doesn't see you.
Right.
So working up some items that help with that particular type of working.
Well, this right here fascinates me because after a long life in pretty radical activism, I've seen a lot of techniques. Like when I first got involved with Earth First, everybody was pagan. Everybody's sporting a pentagram. We were using magic before we went and did an action. And there was a time when I had to do a thing to a cop that I'd accidentally put my hands all over, clear in view of the cameras, which I knew were there. I had to become invisible. And I did a thing to this cop, which it worked so well. It's like all the cameras, I could see me, but I sat in the back of the court in a disguise, and even though I was right in the middle of the frame, nobody saw me in this entire fucking courtroom. So invisibility spells for activists. See, I wish somebody had been writing a book about that back then.
Yeah, well,
tell us more.
I was observing a lot of. I am an activist, but I tend to do it. I'm not usually someone who marches and protests a lot because I catch a cold at everything already, let alone with the pandemic. But what I do is I'm very good at finding out who's the actual decision maker and talking to them. And a lot of people, driving attention, moving public sentiment is huge. Finding government officials or the people that supply them their perks can be much more effective with much less work. So I let other people do the bigger stuff to get people to understand, because hearts and minds need to change. And I tend to be the person that picks the item and picks the one thing, picks the piece in the infrastructure that can change most easily, and find the person that changes it and gives them about 10 reasons why they're going to want to. But while they're doing that, I watched a lot of my friends, because I had a house in Minneapolis until last month. My ex-wife and I finally sold it, And there were several of my friends who either were in the Black Lives Matter protests or were acting as Human Shield protesters. So they were white friends that were standing between the black community and the police to prevent some of the violence that keeps happening. And I kind of noticed that there were cases for the activists where you need to be able to move the scale up and down, because sometimes you really want people to see you. And sometimes a couple minutes later, you really want someone to miss you. So learning how to change your vibration up and down in the middle of a bunch of shouting, in the middle of a bunch of chaos where you may be emotionally worked up yourself, that's an important skill to have. Because you want someone to see the sign, you want the other people to see you to help you, you want the cameras to see when something you need recorded happens. At the same time, if somebody's going to chase you down, you need to be the one they miss.
Right.
And this can be happening simultaneously.
You should talk about that thing where on that video where you never showed up, where like you took the kid or whatever. Sorry, that this like
no, you know that's funny, honey, because I literally just like what you just said was the part of that story that I said. Bottom line, it was the Kosovo War. I wasn't really involved, but I was working communications. I was listening to the scanner about a block away. I heard the police say, "Arrest them all if they don't move." And most of my friends were there, and so I'm bolting over there on a bike, and I saw a bunch of my friends surrounding a paddy wagon. I didn't know why, so I threw my bike down and I jumped in front of the paddy wagon. And I started asking people, "Why are we in front of this fucking paddy wagon?" I said, "So and so and so and so are in the fucking paddy wagon. They're trying to fucking take them. We're not going to let them take them." I said, "All right, cool. I'm going to stand in front of the paddy wagon." And I'd become a father a few years before that, and I hear this child screaming, "Mommy, Mommy, don't let him take me. Mommy, Mommy, don't let him take me." I look down behind the paddy wagon, and I see this girl about my daughter's age being ripped out of her mother's arms by a bunch of fucking cops. And I've been trained. I've been an activist a long time. I've been all the training, all the nonviolence workshops. I know the last thing you want to do is put your hands on a fucking cop. And I was a very well-known activist, and they would have loved to put me away for something. And I knew, because I was working communications, that they had somebody doing surveillance on the building right across from them. They had a camera rolling. I knew where the camera was. But my father instinct took over, and next thing you know, I heard this kid screaming, "Mommy, Mommy, don't let him take me." Next thing you know, I got my hands on this cop, and I'm wrestling with him, trying to free the child. And luckily, this actually shows up on cop shows to this day and age. This little incident in Santa Cruz, this guy named Steve Argue runs up and punches a cop in the face, breaks his nose, and runs. All the cops run after him except for little Officer Tripp, who I knew before he went to the academy. He's the littlest guy on the force, and he's the one now charged with taking the kid from this mother and me. And I'm wrestling with this cop. It's only because Marta asked me to tell the story. And I'm realizing the situation. I know where the camera is. I know I'm right in the middle of the frame. I got my hand on this cop, but I can't stop. And he looks at me. But back then my name was Phil Free. And Officer Tripp looks me in the eyes and he says, "Phil, let go or you're going to jail." And I forced every piece of witchcraft I had through my eyes, down his eyes, and told him, "Forget me. Forget me." And I saw the video later. He kind of staggered back 2 steps and grabs this other kid and starts wrestling with this other kid. I'm standing there with mom and kid. Well, I took him away. I took him down a tunnel out to Pacific Avenue on Santa Cruz. I go, "Go, run, you got your kid, go." Later, all these other kids that have been arrested in this thing, there was this one kid that had been arrested for the thing that I had done. He was being blamed for it. And I'm sitting in the back of the courtroom. I'm watching the thing. I see me. Nobody sees me. I got a jury. I got a judge. They got cops that would love to see Phil Free go to jail. They just don't see the thing. The story's much longer, but Marta asked me to talk about that part, and I don't want to take up the whole thing.
I thought it was
my story.
I thought it was on TV once.
But it was more of a glamour than an invisibility spell.
Right.
But yeah, it was on TV. Nobody saw it when it was on TV. Nobody saw.
They were
me.
totally focused on
this
something
glamour was like
totally
the
different.
Best piece of magic I ever fucking did. Man.
Even though he's right there, they're not even talking about it.
That's one hell of a story, and yeah, I would say invisibility kind of falls on the shadow side of glamour, but yeah. Also, what I do not understand police thinking it's ever appropriate to grab kids. I do not understand this kid grabbing thing. No, bad.
No.
So, and that is something I've seen happen a lot, and I do not get what the hell these people are thinking when they do that.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's my main rant.
I just, I'd say you could have done anything to me. I've stood on a riot line plenty of times, and nothing fazed me. I was even a cop for 3 years and was almost on the wrong side of a riot line. But something about kids, the mommy, don't let them take me. I lost my shit, man. I'd lose it to this day if I saw it again.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people would. A lot of people will. It's like that's how they get us into wars sometimes. They show us some kids that got bombed by these bad guys over in the Middle East, and next thing you know, we're sending tanks and planes and shit.
Yeah, I'd say that would do a lot, because the parent protective instinct, and you kind of forget that there's other parents there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But it worked. She kept her kid.
Yeah.
And they didn't get her. So
good.
I guess it was good.
Yeah.
Good. And that
but
kid hopefully grew up to...
How have you tested these techniques? Are you testing them yourselves? Are you teaching this to people that are activists?
I have tested them myself several times, including stuff with my entire house, with myself individually, with different partners. And also, with some activists, I would do some distance work for them. But it's also teaching people and having them go out in the field. So, like, everything I make, the physical products I make, I know for a fact they work, because I've tested them. I've had several other people test them, especially if they're dealing with any kind of psychic warfare stuff. Is a lot of people will come to me for that, and especially the invisibility incense and powder I make, I have provided some to someone who is part of the Yuma indigenous community, where there was a lot of ICE raids going on. And this really did slow down a lot of those issues for that community.
Did you say Yuma?
Yeah, Yuma.
Yeah, we used to live by there. Okay.
Yeah, there was someone who's Navajo Nation that mentored me for a while, and as part of the trade is I would also make things from my own practice for their community. Yeah.
To the backup mic again. Do you hear us now?
Yeah, I can hear you fine now.
I think one of the dogs bumped into the plug. So we're on the house mic. Will sound a little different, but I thought you lagged out. Go ahead. What were you saying?
So one of the things I did a few years ago is I had a mentorship where I was being mentored, but as part of paying for what I was being trained for, is I would bring in medicine for my shamanic mentors community. And so a lot of what I did was different things to help them get around legal issues with ICE, help them escape notice from ICE, help them kind of remove themselves from people's memories if they were trying to get away from abusers. And this is a lot of work that I do now. And so sometimes, for example, okay, I have this really effective incense, but if someone's allergic to smoke, or if someone doesn't work well with items, then showing them the energy methods to move up and down, or what they can do when they're in extreme emotional states. And so I've had a lot of different people coming to me at different times for different levels of crisis, and they have been my guinea pigs, and they've known that some of this stuff was experimental, and reported back fairly successfully that a lot of this, a lot of the stuff that I was coming up with was working, and so I've had time to condense that down to a class I can actually teach, and here's how you do this, and here's how you can tweak it. And for example, my class does cover both invisibility, but also the glamour side, and also looking at the emotional side of both sides of the transaction. So, for example, because I'm an animist, and because of work that I do with my life partner, and what they do is they see emotions as animistic spirits. And so, if you can have a conversation, if someone else is super, super angry at you, and you can have that conversation with the anger, saying, "Hey, can you dial it down for a minute?" Or "Hey, I acknowledge you, but I need you to step back," and that can actually help because of the way the reactions get programmed.
Interesting.
Fascinating stuff. So so the invisibility powder and incense, those definitely sound handy. Yeah, they'll be making stuff like that back in my day.
Yeah.
Yeah, powder, incense, temporary tattoos. So this way, if you have the allergies, but you just need something on your body that you can pull off.
Nice.
And so those are like the main things that I'm making right now. And I know there's something else that is on my list to make this week, and it is literally escaping my mind. But I'm also like the thing that gets misplaced in my house the most is the ingredients for invisibility work. And I'll be looking right at it.
All right, let's take us a break. Smoke them if you got them, or go pee, whatever you got to do. And we'll be right back. Diane and Rachel.
Father, can you hear me? How have I let you down? I curse the day that I was born, and all the sorrow in this world.
of black men. Culture bandits, they planned it but never thought that they would get caught, let alone by a black man. Take and rape, shape your brain and claim that what's ours is theirs, so you fear the white race and hate and never think about the fact we built it all. Got you thinking all the black can do is crawl, so you lose when you choose to be duped. No truth from Bush and Duke, play the flute I shoot, cause I ain't never gave a fuck about a skunk. But some brothers wanna go out like a punk. Now they fade creams and contacts. Used to be black, so I'm scheming and kinda acting extra false facts to back to genocide. It ain't no wonder the strong black man's died. Make way for a panther, right? Make way for a panther, right? Make way for a panther, right? Make way for a panther, yeah. Make way for a panther, right? Make way for a panther, right? Make way for a panther, right? Make way for a panther. Yeah. Bam. Catch a nosebleed.
The revolution can't survive if the revolutionary is killed. So the revolutionary has to be wise to avoid the killing fields. Not for the sake that he wants to live, but that the revolution may live and thrive. So revolutionaries have to be wise. Not only courageous, but wise.
Paris on Witchcon Radio.
Witchcon.
On our backup microphone. So seriously, people, you gotta have your tickets by now. You've gotta have registered. I mean, it's like Friday, y'all. I mean, maybe
Yeah,
you can sign up later, but I'm not going to encourage that behavior with my people. Oh, and there goes the pack of dogs running through the house. Bring the magic to you. March 5th to the 7th, 2021. Join the largest online magical conference in the world, y'all. Featuring over 100 witches and conjurers coming to you by live stream video from across the globe. Watch classes live and then watch on demand whatever you want. Like Christian said on his show the other day, you're getting an on-demand video occult library that staggers the mind.
And it's yours to keep forever.
Forever, for as long as Crowdcast exists. March 5th to the 7th, 2021, Brian King, Christian Day, and the Hex Education Network present Witchcon Online, featuring over 100 witches, 100 classes by over 100 witches and conjurers from across the globe, ready to share their time-honored wisdom and witchery with beginners and advanced practitioners alike. Witchcon Online presenters are the preeminent masters of the magical arts and hail from across the rainbow spectrum of occult and spiritual practices. Registration is limited to 1,000 attendees, and I think we're like well beyond 600 last I heard. And it includes all the video classes, rituals, and performances, as well as access to recordings of every class after the event has ended on our on-demand library. Attendees and fans will love this shopping in our virtual vendorium, where our guests will be too, featuring powerful ritual tools, signed books, exquisite jewelry, invisibility powder and stuff, and incense, and handmade spellcrafts. Our virtual meet and greet lets attendees and fans alike chat with presenters live on Zoom, and it's a great way to get to know your favorite teachers. We'll be there. We'll be there in the virtual meet and greet like we were at HexFest last year.
Is there going to be a virtual meet and greet?
Dude,
yeah, I know
you know
you
how
read
many
it.
shows we've done,
Listen
and
to
I've
me.
read the same thing in front of you.
Listen.
Yes.
I looked at the schedule and I didn't see any designated time for the meet and greet.
I don't know how they do that.
Asking.
Everybody gets like a link or something like that.
Okay.
And last year, it was on Zoom, and we left the room. And our dog Mojo loves to steal Marta's coffee, and there was a spoon in Marta's coffee, and it made a bunch of noise. And you know how Zoom is, your camera turns on as soon as you make noise. So we came back and everybody says, hey, your dog was drinking your coffee. It was nice of them to tell us.
Yeah.
You know? But everybody saw, an extreme close-up of Mojo drinking Marta's coffee.
Yeah.
Witchcon Online is live streamed on the Hex Education Network on Crowdcast, a web-based platform with no need to download an app. You can do this on your phone, people. Seriously, $95. $95. If you don't have $95, just come up with the $95 because there's several people teaching money magic, prosperity magic,
Yeah.
wealth magic, all this kind of thing.
And then people are teaching stuff you haven't even heard about before.
Haven't even heard about.
There's some stuff I'm drooling over because it is so outside of my normal sphere that I cannot wait to learn about it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely. I wanted to ask you something, Diana. I was reading about what it says about Golden Apple Metaphysical. And so it has, tea, serves, magic, but the last thing says handmade magical innovations. So do you make
Yes.
like one-of-a-kind items?
We try to.
Okay.
Right now, what we do, everything that we are selling right now is entirely handmade, either by ourselves or someone who has worked with us in the past. And so it's slow going, partly because, for example, one of the things that is going to be offered this year is my smoke oil. And the smoke oil, unfortunately, I have to reformulate it because the original formula has formula in it. And what that does is, if you apply that to the skin, it removes lesser entity attachments. So, or things where, for example, I convert paper bags into incense that can be used in all sorts of spell work that requires paper and then smells pretty as you burn it, or has specific alignments because of what is in what I've put in the paper. And my partner Nikki hand makes soy candles that she does custom blends on, and she's especially good at the prosperity and love magic. Although I would say be careful what you ask for with the love magic unless you really want somebody showing up with a bulldozer. Right. So she's a little too good. This is part of what we do is we do have like your basic Samhain, Mabon stuff for the basic spell kits and the stuff that people need on a cyclical basis, but we're working in things that come from the work we've done together as spirit workers that you don't necessarily know to look for in a store because it's not so common that you're going to find it in any occult store, but it's been a recurring enough issue that we needed to create something for it, and we kind of operate in the assumption that if we needed it, somebody else does too.
Yeah.
Well, here is Marta. I'm looking at the same thing Marta looked at, and I'm fixated on the steampunk botanical.
Yeah.
Tell us about.
Oh, we changed that. Yeah, we're working towards getting that more themed in that direction because, again, we are doing more handmade, and my partner Cinti is also a forge worker, so we're going to start having more forge work items coming in.
Can you make swords?
Forge worker?
No, they're
Yeah.
Really?
I don't think they're there yet.
blacksmith?
We're going to start with smaller items.
Wait,
Yes, they're
let her finish.
yeah,
What'd
they're
you
a blacksmith.
say?
I'm saying like.
No, not
me.
you.
Oh,
What were you saying,
Okay, go ahead.
Diana?
Yeah, they're not quite at swords just yet. I'm honestly not sure where they go because they're not exactly linear in their creative approach. So I never know what the hell they're doing until they've done it.
Yeah.
So it's that's amazing. I had no idea you were even thinking of doing that, and there it is.
Yeah. So I don't know if you are even privy to how this works, but I'm noticing that for all the vending, everybody has a time slot.
Yeah, I saw that.
So you're going to be like featured for a certain amount of time, and that's the only amount of time people have if they want to order anything from you, or can they like go back and do it? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I need to go back and look because I had my time slotted today for reading through like all the directions.
Yeah.
and I have kids, so that did not happen.
Yeah.
But my understanding is that you do get 30 minutes. You show them what you have, and I know my business partner is the one who's been working all of that stuff out while I focus on the workshop part.
Okay.
And my understanding is that here's our lovely items. Let's do a home shopping channel type thing, and then people place orders for what they want, and you go from there.
Okay.
So that's my understanding of how it
hopefully
works.
we'll be able to go back and order stuff at a later date. Like if you happen to be
I would
in
think
the
they'd
shower or
have to set
something
up-
when that's happening.
But the way I'm understanding it, they have a set time to give a presentation.
Right.
But then
But you
there's
can
a
still
vendor
order.
website
Yeah.
right here, so
Okay.
you purchase that later. So
Yeah, makes
you've got a time that you've got to like talk about your stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and we are very findable on Facebook and Instagram and on our website. So, and between Nikki and me, we're super responsive. So, if somebody,
Golden Apple Metaphysical, y'all.
Yeah.
was looking at this spell kits, handmade magical innovations. Yeah, they're invisibility powder in a sense for activists. That's innovative right there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, could have used some of that.
Yeah. Yeah,
Well,
that
also,
probably
well,
should.
people can use it today with everything that's going on too.
Absolutely.
Dear God, yes.
Well, I was always
Yeah.
a different type of activist. Like, I had friends that would do like lockdowns. They'd lock themselves to something to block, something from happening, either military or logging or whatever, and then they let themselves be arrested. I did not agree with that, for me.
Yeah.
Never let yourself be arrested. Fight another day. So we got Jennifer's like messaging both of us, telling us, yeah, she's a good friend of mine. It's like, yeah, we know that.
Oh, she said
We
it.
heard
She
that.
lost the connection. Said it was terminated. But
Huh.
you hear us, right?
I can hear you just fine, yeah.
Okay.
Huh.
I
What
guess
was
it was some-
terminated?
I don't know. She said her connection was terminated.
Huh. Weird.
Okay. Anyway,
Weird.
you carry on.
Weird.
I'll let me type to her.
Yeah, it's still, I'm looking at the count, we're still broadcasting. Let's see, I was going to ask about, we talked a little bit about the class, but so, oh yeah, you did actually talk about how you're testing your theories. And
I did remember what the other product was, and it's actually important that I remember that because this is one that has not been tested, but it is using the same formula that I've used before.
Mm-hmm.
And this is laundry powder for people that can't even mess around, that just need it imbued in some way. So, for example, in a work uniform, let's say you have to have your chef's whites or whatever it is, and adding something that it can't be any smell, but it still has to have the energy to make you not get noticed when you're just trying to do your job.
That's
Yeah.
something most people don't
Really
think about.
innovative.
Yeah, it's like everything's so smelly these days.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, there's a time and a place for that, but
Yeah.
sometimes.
yeah,
And it's called aromatherapy.
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
My
if you're doing your
day,
magic right,
magical
you're trying
oil
not to get
smelled like
caught.
dirt.
So,
Yeah.
Dirt and roots and stuff, but yeah, things change over time. Let's see. I'm looking through your thing. What else? There was something I was going to ask, and I keep forgetting if I can ask.
Something to do with SF?
with SF, with urban
Priestess
magic,
to the
with,
Spirit of Cisco is now functioning as advisor. Spiritual. Okay, we talked about all that. Okay. All right, I don't know. There was something that seems like I keep forgetting, but it looks like I'm looking at everything right up there. So what else can you tell us about the invisibility workings for immigrants and activists that's, not a spoiler? Don't give us any spoilers for your clients.
no spoilers. What I can tell you is I'm going to be incorporating a lot more than just folk magic. It's going to be split into folk magic, physical work, physical items, and energy work for people that prefer to work with energy only. And some of it comes back to, because I am an empath, I do give people I do train empaths in methods for managing their sensitivities without carrying everybody else's stuff.
Yeah.
And some of the techniques I've developed for that is also teaching empaths, because a lot of empaths become empaths because they push their emotional bodies outside to get an early warning system, and unfortunately it turns into a human lint roller. But learning how to do it deliberately so you can get a feel for when somebody coming into your space is going to be a problem or not before you need to activate anything.
Yeah.
So the other part will be, and there will be a third component that is working with spirits that have expertise in invisibility and cultivating those relationships in low key or low expense ways, but in a way to cultivate those relationships. So if you're in a situation where it's happening and you don't have it, you've got somebody you can call on. So, and just kind of trying to take every possibility into account in terms of just the sheer, especially just the sheer emotional load of 2020 for most people. There's a lot of times where the situations have come up, and, emotions take physical energy too.
Yep.
Witchcraft takes physical energy too. It does take a toll on our bodies that we don't really talk about a lot. And So you have to have those relationships and those other things that you can say, hey, I need the support.
Right.
And have enough of a relationship and have given enough support to whatever that spirit or entity is that it's there for you. And so, like, it's going to be blocked out into that kind of approach.
Mm-hmm. You know, one thing I've really noticed just throughout this entire festival, like just, you know, with, as far as the themes and talking to people, there are so many, you know, new innovative approaches to things in one spot that it really stands out to me. It's not just basic, like, okay, you know, money, get your lover, you know, whatever, just your, you know, basic stuff. Like, this is all shit, just like, you know, like on a different level, like what a lot of people are teaching.
It's a whole, we haven't interviewed anybody that was teaching like any like common old boring
like
stuff. You
candle
know?
magic.
Candle magic.
Whatever.
Yeah. I knew somebody did like a workshop on color magic. It's like, really? Yeah. How can I spend a whole workshop on color magic? Like, I can tell you that in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was handy when I was a beginner, and I mean, one of my first big magical mistakes happened with color magic. Yeah, so my ex-husband was developing bone spurs in his skull, and so I tried to use green to heal it up because it was giving him like horrendous migraines, like could not function, you know, throwing up all day migraines. And that made it worse because, you know, green was for growth. Because I was like, oh, green is for healing. Well, his body interpreted as I'm going to grow now. So I learned pretty quick to switch healing to blue to keep the the bad things from growing. Mm-hmm. So that was one of my early master mistakes.
Yeah. When I was a kid, they always cautioned us that the last thing you want to get involved in is healing magic. It's like there's a reason we spend 10 years to send doctors to school. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot you can screw up. You can make things worse while trying to help somebody. And I don't know if you've ever been on TikTok or some of these other places where the kids say that intent is all that matters. And I would say,
that's bullshit.
Yeah. You can intend not to fall to your death and walk off the edge of a cliff, and your intent does not matter.
Your intent can completely reshape an outcome, and sometimes a poorly formed intent will really mess up a spell more than anything else. And if you're going to do healing work, commit to it as your specialty, because you know, the energy bodies can get injured too, but focus on the energy bodies, not in the physical body. And you still really need to know how everything intersects. So, which is why, you know, I have a friend who's a traditional Chinese medicine doctor, so
am I.
I just refer people to him if it's over my head and they've already gone through allopathic treatment and they're still at their wit's end, and it's not a spiritual thing, because as a spirit worker, I will see people after they've tried with the doctor, you can't figure out what the hell is wrong. And a lot of the times it's trauma acting out in the body. And there's some things I can do, but I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a psychiatrist. And so, like, the next few things is to find a therapist who can work with them, and or find an Eastern medicine doctor who works with their body in a different way. And I've noticed that with the traditional Chinese medicines I've gone to the spring for treatment, is that system really does seem to understand the emotional and physical integration really well. So, like, I just keep, you know, I have my Rolodex of references of people that I'm like, okay, here's how far I can take you. If you haven't done all of the first steps yet, go back.
Sorry, we had to mute our mic because we've got 3 dogs going. I'm going to leave them to the other room, and you're going to talk to her. Okay. Come on, you guys.
Yeah, so we're actually, so I told you yesterday we had 3 dogs. 2 of them are ours, like the 2 big ones, and then there's a little pug who we're just watching for a friend for a couple more days, and he just doesn't have an off switch, and he just keeps running around and playing, and it's like at all the inopportune moments is when they start like going and like mouth breathing and stuff, and we can't even hear anybody.
I swear, like almost every time we've gone on the air to interview somebody, it's 5:10 p.m. or roughly there around. Somebody walks by with a dog and they go off. It's like when we're starting to talk to our guest. I think it happened tonight, but I hit the mute button. Yeah. But they're in the other room now. So yay, it's all quiet.
Oh, so nice.
The chaos of Witchcon.
Yes.
All right,
unfortunately, there isn't a cool catnip for dogs. So.
Ooh, is there such a thing?
What?
I've looked.
Catnip for dogs? I don't think. I mean,
I've looked. I'm looking at getting CBD oil for my boxer, but I don't think it's going to have the same effects.
Yeah, we've used that a couple times.
One of the few times we got a night off when we lived in Hollywood is when the big dog ate an edible.
Yep.
Was supposed to be ate it.
Yep.
And suddenly he didn't have separation anxiety.
We lived in a really walkable area, so we'd like go to one place and then come home and check on the dog, and then we'd go to another place and then come home and check on the dog, and then get a drink over here, check on the dog.
Yeah.
So at least we had that option.
Okay, that's an anxious dog. So apparently edibles solved the problem.
At least for
it was actually 2 days. It was actually 2 days we got to go out.
Okay.
He was just like drooling on himself. I don't know how potent the edible was. It was like a free sample. Mm-hmm. We were in California where it's legal, and I think Marta would get it delivered, and these delivery people would always give us like little samples that would just be lying around we'd never actually use, and the dog got a hold of one.
I have gotten walloped by those samples before. They do pack a punch.
Yeah.
I had an unfortunate story about. Yeah. I made the mistake of basically not paying attention, and they brought me like a 4-square chocolate edible, and I ate all four squares. Went to my friend's birthday party. And at the birthday party, it was like Indian food that I wasn't liking very much. And then I decided to match my business partner with shots of whiskey because she basically lives on whiskey and steak. And, and I realized that the edible was hitting because it was a birthday party for a friend of ours who's this French woman. And so usually when I'm sober, I don't have a problem understanding her. But not only was I having trouble understanding her, she sounded further and further away while she was sitting next to me. And this ended with us going up a hill in North Beach, and all I remember is that my ex-boyfriend had to prop me over a chair. There was someone else at the party with us who decided to have a conversation with me. It was a very one-sided conversation. She was doing all the thinking, and I remember finding her really irritating, but my irritation was all the way across the room from me, so I was able to be perfectly pleasant. And I just remember like staggering out of there and this woman going, "This is the best conversation I've had in ages." I was like, okay, I think I'm done with edibles for a very long time.
Yeah. I can't really control them.
So I just clicked on your website off of the Witchcon thing. Urban Magic's available for pre-order now.
No, Urban Magic's already out.
Well, it says
my
available
website is wildly out of date.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm actually, So for some backstory, is a lot of stuff that should have been caught up was not, because I ended up getting divorced in the middle of last year. And a lot of stuff kind of went to hell while I was dealing with that and finishing off the hex twisting. Yeah. So one of the things that I am genuinely hoping to have done by Wednesday is my new website that has the new book up for pre-order. That is not completely janky and is on a server that I own rather than one that my ex-wife owns.
Yeah.
So it was just 2018 and 2019 were a spectacular shit show for me. So when 2020 hit, I've been standing there going, okay, now y'all bastards know how I've been feeling.
Oh, so you can't even update this website yet.
2018 was kind of a shit show over here too.
Yeah.
Or back when we were city witches then.
Yeah.
Or urban witches.
Maybe it was a city thing. Well, not like we're not like in a city now.
Yeah.
Well,
no, we were in like Hollywood.
Yeah. I know.
Very different than this city.
That's a very different vibe.
Yeah.
It's a very different vibe. I haven't gotten to go to Hollywood yet. I would like to because my dad worked as an actor there in the 50s.
Oh, cool.
So, Yeah, like I think he just did, I remember something about him telling me a story about working with Nick Nolte in a theater troupe. I don't think he did any screen stuff. Like he mostly did stage acting, but that was like apparently for a while in the 50s because he looked like a blonde Elvis. Like he went and worked in the theater in New York and Hollywood. There is no explanation of when this happened, why this happened, how this happened. Apparently just a thing he went and did.
Cool.
So, you know, the mysterious gaps in my father's life. Just.
Have you ever read Urban Primitive?
I have. It actually inspired. It is what got me started with urban magic, and I did enjoy it. I don't know a lot about the original authors. I know they've gone on to do very different things since then.
Yeah,
the way I read
Urban Primitive thing of its time, but I don't know.
Raven Calderas.
Raven Caldera and Tannen Schwartzstein.
Yeah.
And from the way I read it at the time, because I picked it up just as I moved to Minneapolis, and that was my first time living on my own in a big city. And I really liked the approach to city spirit. I really liked they definitely had a sort of chaos magic animistic approach. But it was also kind of written as you're stuck in a city. And for me, I see being in a city as a massive opportunity.
Right.
And it is not separate from nature. And, you know, fortunately, I got to start in Minneapolis where the balance between the urban and nature is so very well done. There is almost equal green space to cement, and it works out beautifully. But I'm also an animist, and I take the materialist perspective is literally, unless it came from outer space, everything around you, no matter how synthetic, originated in nature. It originated from planet Earth.
Yeah.
And it can be reminded of what it was. And so you don't have to be separate from nature. And I know San Francisco's done a fairly poor job of managing especially water management by people didn't want to pay more for water. They didn't want to take care of their lawns. They cemented over their lawns to deal with the 7-year drought a few years ago. And unfortunately, this is creating even more of an environmental crisis because the trees literally don't remember how to root down now.
Wow.
And yeah, which is kind of a problem and is a hard way to, it's a very difficult way to get more oxygen if the trees don't remember how to root.
Yeah.
But, you know, but you can also, again, I'm an animist. Do you want to talk to the cement and remind it, hey, remember when you were on the beach? Hey, remember when you were porous? Hey, you want to let some things break through and come up because there's things alive underneath you. And calling on that energy, granted, I don't recommend breaking sidewalks as necessarily a way of managing it, but you can call energy up. And if you're feeling completely separated or completely suffocated, you can call in the breathable energy. I know one of the more amusing things I've done is had people take anything that's made from nylon or petroleum and go, hey, remember when you were around with the dinosaurs? Were you a dinosaur? And just see what happens.
Nice.
And that's gotten some entertaining responses, especially when they found some really old kelp.
Yeah.
So
Well, I was thinking of, with regard to Urban Primitive, Squat. Squat was right across the bridge. That was Isaac Bonowitz's coven in the 80s in Berkeley, creating a parking deity or an egregore to become a deity. And the way they programmed
that's where it worked for me the best was Berkeley.
Actually, absolutely. Well, Squat's powerful in Berkeley.
Yeah.
But Squat was made to excel its original program and become a god. It's just kind of stuff that Isaac Bonowitz would do. And within like a couple years, I saw, you know, every Halloween they have to interview witches on the news. So it was Enchantments in New York City had it. Within like 3 years of the creation of Squat in Berkeley, they had it in New York, and there they had a little. It was kind of like Rochambeau, like if you're going to do rock paper scissors. They had this hand motion. It was like squat, squat, find me a spot, squat, squat, find me a spot. So a chant and a hand movement that was not part of Squat's original programming. And by the time it reaches Urban Primitive, Squat's now transgendered, and originally you would feed parking meters of people about to get tickets is a Sacramento squat. But by the time it reached urban primitive, now squat likes dirty jokes and limericks.
Yep.
And you gotta chant those while you're driving. And now squat is this big burly woman that'll also find you a house, a place to squat your ass. So squat transformed its programming, developed new skills, transgendered itself. Bonowitz and his coven would probably be proud if most of them were still alive to see what squat has become. But I've used squat. I'm sure you probably use squat.
I use squat.
I use squat in Minneapolis. San Francisco has its own secret lady of parking. That a lot of the natives will tell you about if they decide that you're to name you a native.
Not asphaltia, is it?
I'm sorry, what?
It's not asphaltia, is it?
It wasn't asphalta.
Okay.
This one preferred to look like a Catholic icon. Because she really liked to lean into the people that did saints worship in the city.
Nice.
So like San Francisco city spirit, pretty much a very diva-like gay man is the way I've dealt with him. But there's like a pantheon there, and some of it stems from direct actual historical figures that were there. And it's very weird because I had a lot of magical realism moments. Like I'm pretty sure I met Emperor Norton, because how many white old dudes actually ask permission to speak to you first? and this one did, because I was in the role as a city priestess there, and the conversations were not typical old dude talking to a pretty lady things. It was, are you concerned about the climates here? Does everything seem balanced? I'm like, okay, this is definitely not a normal bus stop conversation, even for the weird shit to get here. So for me, it was my deal with the city spirit was, you want me to do your work, you make it easy for me to park. And they've modernized there, so now you can pay with credit cards, so you can't really do that sacrament, so you have to do other things instead.
Well, I guess in this case we call it a quid pro quo.
And if you get called as a city priestess, it is not a small job. I tell people when I'm training them, if this comes to you, you create a contract and you say, here's what I need to do this. Because otherwise it will eat you alive. You have to have those boundaries.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And good parking is definitely on that list with some of the places I had to go.
Oh, absolutely.
Good parking.
San Francisco,
visibility.
Absolutely.
I remember a time that I went there to hook up with some lady. I couldn't find parking. I took a wrong turn. I ended up going across a bridge, and I was in Oakland.
Oh no!
At a certain point, I had to
You just
cancel.
didn't hook up with the lady.
I just had to cancel the whole thing. Most other times, I went to San Francisco. I was, driven by other people. We got off at some, activist center or something like that.
That's funny.
And I remember one of the other, I think I got married in San Francisco a long time ago.
Oh, you did?
And I got stuck on one of those, like a little chapel of wedding bells or some shit. But I got stuck on one of those crazy fucking hills where it's it feels like your car is gonna flip over backwards, just going down this fucking thing.
Our park,
Oh God.
Vertical parking is so much more literal than it normally is. Yes.
Yes. I always the electricity there drove me crazy, because they have those trolleys, so they have all this electricity right over the street. And it's just there's so many electric lines. Here in New Orleans, you get into French Quarter, they're all under the ground, so you don't really feel them as much. But they're in San Francisco, they're under the ground and they're above you, so it's kind of wedged in this electromagnetic field that you stay.
Yeah, if you get on the bus, I know, because I lived out in the outer Richmond when I first moved there, and the 5 line, I could always tell when a storm was coming, because it was always the same spot where a lot of the buses are now all electric, so they're basically just giant modern trolleys. And it would spark something off and set fire to the same damn house. like clockwork. I don't know who lived there, but I really hope that they were paying 1990s rent. Hassle.
Those were the days.
Well, yeah, we moved. Imagine it's the same in San Francisco. There's like no rent control.
No, it does have rent
Oh,
control.
do they have rent control?
Yeah.
In Santa Cruz,
At
the
least
landlords
a lot of parts
owned
of it.
everything. Since
Yeah.
like in the 50s, they organized. God, it was the most uncolorful racist organization. It was like white people against Mexicans or against Chinese. They like drove the Chinese out of Santa Cruz, tore down their houses, built banks where their houses once stood. There was never rent control. The landlords had all the power. And then we went and we moved to West Hollywood for a little while, where
That's a hardcore.
the squatters
rent
have
control.
all the power. Landlords don't have shit. And it's like you could literally just break into a place and start living there, and people have to pay you to leave.
Well, they'll eventually get you out, but it takes months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bay Area ain't no
Okay, so my takeaway from this is, next time I decide I need to relocate West Hollywood.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're a renter, yeah. you don't want to be a landlady.
The problem, well, like SF, like when somebody moves out, they get to charge market rent. So all the places that are vacant right now are actually really expensive.
Yeah.
But at least they're not going to raise it.
Well, some of the stuff that I remember about, like San Francisco back in the day used to be like the gay center of the universe. And I don't know, I think West Hollywood's a close second.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like the City Hall has the rainbow flag in their logo.
Yep.
Even the utility vehicles have rainbow flags flying off the back of them. So I don't know if San Francisco still claims.
San Francisco is still very gay, but it's a very gentrified gay. So
Yeah.
there is.
It's cut. You know what? West
a-
Hollywood is totally like that.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah, so it's the younger Silicon Valley gay people versus the older ones that are like, basically you motherfuckers, you know what we did to get here, and the younger ones are going, okay, but now you need to expand, and they're both right. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I forget there was a comedian one time, and he had a bit. It's like, how are you going to be homophobic? And the gay, you don't want the gay people to move to your neighborhood. The crime rate's going to go down. The litter's going to go down. You're going to get a Whole Foods. And it's like, that's stereotypical as fuck, but that's exactly what happened to West Hollywood.
That's literally what happened to, I've lived in West Hollywood since I was 3 until about 18 when I moved to Santa Cruz. But I remember I was already in Santa Cruz, and my parents said, yeah, they're putting in a Whole Foods literally a block away from where we lived. And I thought that would be kind of weird because it was a lot of, Russian immigrants around, which is what I am. And it didn't really seem that Whole Foods was really going to do that well. But the presence of Whole Foods is actually almost single-handedly gentrified that entire neighborhood. It just cleared so many people out. Just that one thing, having a Whole Foods there. I was really amazed. I thought they were going to fail because it didn't seem like the people who lived around there were people who were going to shop at Whole Foods, and they just got pushed out. It's crazy how that happens.
And part of it is that Whole Foods does, I would not be surprised, I do not know this for a fact, I know that Starbucks would do this, would go in and either buy out the landlords' buildings, buy out the rental buildings and become the landlords and push people out and then flip them, or they would, do things to advertise to get people with the client base they want to move into that neighborhood.
Yeah.
So this is how gentrification works. It's a dirty business.
Absolutely, drove the rents up, changed so many things. Just that one thing. Just talking about Whole Foods. Well, my dad told me, they're going to open a Whole Foods over there. I'm like, are they insane? Who's going to show the 80-year-old, Russian grandmothers aren't going to shop there.
Well, I remember, when across the street from my occult shop there was an Albertsons. I think it was. And it closed down.
Yeah.
And it was it was like a ghost town around there. There was homeless people sleeping in front of my shop all the time. It's it totally changed. And then Whole Foods moved in across the street, and the whole neighborhood just changed. And, as a business owner, I had to embrace that change because that's what I needed.
Yeah.
And I started eating really good. I started drinking kombucha every day
Yeah,
and shit.
yeah.
It took like 20
Yeah.
years off my age.
Yeah, that's when we had a baby, and I just go
Yeah.
get him like really healthy.
Yeah,
like,
Sasha started his
squash
life
and
eating
stuff.
whole food shit.
Yeah.
Well, and it didn't get rid of your clientele. It just brought you different clientele that were willing to spend more or able to.
Yeah, and it gave me
Yeah,
some place to go across the street and grab something to eat.
Yeah, I mean there's literally nothing on any side of our first shop in Santa Cruz.
Well, that's the thing,
both
like that whole
businesses on either side of us, across the street, Albertsons, like it was just done.
it was dead, and then the Whole Foods moved in,
Yep.
and the whole neighborhood just like picked
Yep.
up. So
Yep.
I have nothing bad to say about them except that they're really fucking expensive.
Yeah.
They are. It helped that I had a partner who worked for Whole Foods, and I really missed the 20% discounts and the good cheese.
Yeah,
Humboldt
Yeah.
Fog.
yeah, Humboldt Fog, yo.
Oh, yeah.
Very different here in New Orleans. There's like different stuff.
Well,
like
yeah.
your comfort foods are different.
Well, in New Orleans, you go to any old random
Everybody.
janky gas station, and it's gonna have the best gumbo you've ever had in your life.
Gas station, liquor store,
Yeah.
you name it. Everybody's
Just
making
like
hot food.
hole in the wall, sketchy places are really where the best food is, as opposed to
Well-
a restaurant.
That was something I found in San Francisco too, is that the
Yeah.
sketchy places had the most amazing food.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, New
Absolutely.
Orleans, like the culture is the food. I mean,
Yep. Yeah.
that's part of it. Is just you go to New Orleans to eat.
Yep.
Most of my time in San Francisco was with Food Not Bombs, so I was not eating really nice food. I was eating the food we made. But
Well, it was good
It was
vegan
good. It was
food.
good organic,
Yeah.
vegan food. I
Yep.
was not vegan, but yeah, that's what you needed to
Yeah,
do.
no, I will occasionally. I have been, especially with my relocation to the Midwest, longing for the sushi and the taquerias.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
a San Francisco burrito is unique
Yeah.
unto itself.
Do you know where Grass Valley is in California?
Kind of.
It's
I didn't really get
pretty-
to wander.
It's
some legs.
so it's a little up north, north of San Francisco, but it's basically between Sacramento and Reno, so it's kind of
Okay.
over there. And
Okay, so
I that was a real problem for me, is I'm really into seafood, and there's just
Yeah.
none,
We
or
didn't- we didn't
sushi
last
or
there.
any of that. I mean, that's not why we didn't last there, but
Yeah,
but that
Yeah.
didn't help.
no, I got very spoiled, especially living in the outer Richmond and outer Sunset. So,
Yeah.
I was kind of on Dumpling Row with all of the really amazing Chinese food
Mm-hmm.
from, the families that have been there since as long as the city has been there.
Yeah.
And then over on the outer Richmond side, it was, people were like going to the beach, fishing and bringing it back in.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't get stuff like that in the Midwest.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, so I've been missing that, although I have been kind of tiding myself over finding snack packs of seaweed because I really like seaweed, but
Uh-huh.
I'm very strange that way.
Yeah. Now we actually
So-
have snack packs of seaweed right now.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. My kids
is.
have kind of noticed since I've been integrated into our household, they have like this section of the pantry that they just refer to as Weird Diana food. There was an incident early on where I tried to cook Nepalese for myself and they wanted to try it and they've never quite recovered.
No.
All right, well, we're getting to be about that time. Diana, Rachel, this was a fascinating discussion. I'm looking forward to your class, and I want to check out your shop on the virtual Vendorium too. You got anything to plug that we didn't plug?
I think
I
everything
meant
has
to
been
ask
fairly
you
plugged.
actually at one point. Do you teach at all?
I do teach. I usually teach via Elements, the local shop. We are working on a spirit worker school with Golden Apple. And I most frequently teach with Wicked Grounds out of San Francisco. They're a kink and BDSM coffee shop that also has an attached magical study school.
That's cool. That's cool. Best way to study magic is with a lot of caffeine. Or back in my day, it was
yes.
cocaine. But whatever worked. Whatever worked.
Caffeine's probably a little easier on your liver, maybe. I don't know.
Well, Diana, thanks for coming on Widdershins. Looking forward to see you at Witchcon.
Yeah, definitely.
Are you doing Hex Fest too, or?
I think I
I am doing Hex Fest.
Yeah.
I am on the program for Hex Fest. Yes.
All right.
I'm
Hopefully
super
we
excited.
see you in person then.
Yeah, hopefully if that happens, I mean, it mostly depends on obviously on the reality of what's happening, but also on the
Johnson &
city.
Johnson's going to save us, man.
Yeah.
Even though they're causing
Who
cancer
knew?
with their baby powder.
Who knew?
It's like, this is the way that they like make it all better.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, okay, we gave you all cancer with the baby powder, but look, we got the vaccine. We're Johnson &
I'm
Johnson.
at Pfizer
We love
headquarters
you.
now.
We've redeemed
It's
ourselves.
terrifying.
We'll see. Hopefully it'll work out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
I'm
keeping
by
our fingers
Pfizer,
crossed.
and they have the vaccine that has the worst ride. But I'm close enough to the plant that I will hear mysterious explosions at night, and no one ever explains them.
Uh-oh.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on, Diana. Hopefully we'll merry meet again.
Yes, hopefully sooner rather
care.
than later.
Okay.
Okay,
Bye.
Blessed
thank you.
be.
Blessed be.
Blessed be.
Well, we haven't had anybody boring on the show. If we didn't even know. We didn't know. We just, oh, that sounds interesting. Oh, this person seems interesting.
Well, and she's
oh,
friends
this person's
with
in New Orleans. And, yeah, she's friends with friends of ours, and that's probably how we met in the first place.
Well, she told us that we met,
Yeah.
and I just didn't remember when Diana said that she was with her.
Yeah.
Okay.
So get
anyway.
your ass over there to witchcon.com and sign up already. I'm sick of telling you bitches about this. This is Widdershins Radio, and unless we hear from somebody else, we're going to have a few days off.
Mm-hmm.
We've been doing this marathon. Normally we're here on Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Central Time.
But we're not going to do
But
it
we're
tomorrow.
not going to do it.
Yeah.
Well, it's not tomorrow, dear, as we've discussed. Today's Monday.
Okay, the day after tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
So I can say this after midnight. We're not going to do it here tomorrow.
Yeah, you can say it after midnight,
Okay,
but
all right.
right now it's 6:48 p.m.
Okay.
So you gotta wait. You gotta wait
I have
a while.
some time.
Got some time. We're gonna take us like a week off, unless somebody else hits up. Like we did have one guest that canceled that might reschedule. We'll see. We'll make the announcements on the Widdershins Facebook page and on our personal Facebook pages if something like that happens. But we may have just finished the Witchcon Marathon, in which the people at Widdershins and myself have more than met our contractual obligations to share Witchcon on our social media. I mean, really, the contract says you got to share Witchcon on your social media. It doesn't say how many times. It's just like once would do. We have gone above and beyond.
I'm not even in
Call of Duty.
WitchCon.
And we, who are about to rock, salute you.
It was early springtime and the strike was on. You drove us miners out of our doors, out of the houses that the company owned, into the tents up in Little Ludlow. We were worried bad about our children. State troopers guarded the railway bridge. Every once in a while a bullet would fly and kick up gravel around our feet. We were so afraid that you'd kill our children that we dug a cave that was 7 foot deep, took the children and the pregnant woman down inside the cave to sleep. It was late that night the soldiers waited. The lawless miners who were asleep crept around our little camp town and soaked our tents in kerosene. Well, they struck a match and the blaze had started. They pulled the triggers on their Gatling guns, made a run for the children, but the firewall stopped me, and 13 children died from their guns. Drug my blanket to the wire fence corner and to watch the flames till the blaze died down. Saw some folks drag their belongings while your bullets killed them all around. Well, they rang the governor for to phone up the president, tell him call off the National Guard. But the National Guard belonged to the governor. Oh, I guess he didn't try very hard. I never will forget the looks on the faces of the men and women that awful day as they stood around to preach the funeral and lay the corpses of the dead away. Well, the women from Trinidad drug some potatoes up to Wallensburg in a little cart. They sold the potatoes and they brought some guns back and put a gun in every hand. It was late that night, the troopers charged us. They didn't know that we had guns. And the red-necked miners, they shot the soldiers. You should have seen them bastards run. We took some cement and walled the cave up where the 13 little children died. I thank God for the Mine Workers Union. And then I hung my head and cried.
Look, Ma, they're gonna fry Tim McVeigh. She said the nice guy was on the cover of all those magazines. Why would they want to do a thing like that? I said, well, he killed all those people in Oklahoma City. She said, nonsense. People don't kill people. Car bombs kill people. I said, well, yeah, Ma, but they gotta do something with it. She said, why don't they just get Mike Tyson to bite off both his ears? And I say, true revolutionaries never bomb buildings. True revolutionaries never bomb buildings. It attracts too much attention. They never bomb buildings. A little girl down my block was born with silicone in her breasts. It turned out her grandma and her mother both had the implants done. Well, evolution took care of it this time around. And I wondered what it is about so many women with big breasts make them look so sad. And I thought, well, maybe it has something to do with the weight, the burden there has to carry in the world to feed it, to be the object of its desires. And I wonder what burdens the rest of us are carrying all the time. decided to go for a walk and do nothing except look everybody I see in the eyes and not be the first to avert my eyes, no matter what. I was planning to be gone for 10 minutes. Things started happening and I didn't return for 2 years, by which time I was the heavyweight champion of the world and the expectant father of 16 children by 13 different women. In a fishing village in coastal Spain. It was Our Lady of Abortion Sunday afternoon. All the pregnant women in their first trimester were filing before the priest to receive the blessing of try again sometime, try again. The old barber had dyed his hair green for the occasion and pierced his nipples and was riding his skateboard to the statue of Conan O'Brien, where he was doing backflips for the kids who threw coins given to them by their parents. A visiting lecturer, achingly handsome, and just finished giving a how to build bombs in your basement seminar in the park. All the young girls put away their notebooks dreamily and put dandelions in their hair. Chimpanzee who had managed to type out Hamlet 3 years before was sitting in the third floor office of the driver's license building, typing out zoning ordinances, typing out learner's permits, bored and lonely. Pee Wee Herman was sitting in the central square in the grass, naked and masturbating, while all the townspeople moved to him slowly and kissed him softly and sung the lullabies from the grass. And in Berkeley, and in Greenwich Village, and in Paris, and Scotts Bluff, Nebraska, no one sits around funky little coffee shops anymore talking revolution. Nah, they get a Starbucks to go. They go back to their basketball games where they see who can jump higher, who can jam, who can take it to the rack. And they all wear baseball caps, except they don't say Yankees or Dodgers or Cardinals anymore. They say Nike, Reebok, Adidas. Because the pro players don't play for teams anymore. They play for shoe companies. And the kids aren't fooled. Nah, they're just biding their time, waiting for the millennium to come, when all the computers will crash, because the best scientists in the world forgot to make them read. Zero to revolutionaries, never bomb buildings. True revolutionaries, never bomb buildings. It attracts too much attention. Never bomb buildings. And I was sitting there with a head full of dark thoughts, like I sometimes get. Suddenly everything cleared, and I realized that the only purpose for revolution is to be able to love who you want, how you want, when you want, and where you want. So I took off all my clothes and stole a boat, rowed out to the middle of the lake, and I jumped in. And I looked back at you, said, come on, get wet. True revolutionaries, never bomb buildings. True revolutionaries,
have a toy gun pointed at them. Walked away with my life relatively intact. But I got a severe tongue lashing. You know what I mean? Said in America, there's some things you cannot say. In America, there's some things against the law to say. Other things, there's laws requiring you to say them at certain places and certain times when required by certain authority figures. Like you get shot fire in a crowd. Get shot fire in a crowded theater. You cannot say you're going to kill the president. Kill that motherfucker. Oh yeah, one other thing. You can never say the word fuck in public. Fuck! No, you can't say the word fuck in public or on public radio. You cannot say the fuck on the public airwaves. You cannot say fuck in any public manner. I'm not even sure if you can say fuck in private. It might be regulated somehow. Said the bottom line's the children, Phil. I gotta protect the children from you and your foul mouth. Do you know how much damage you could cause them if you was to say fuck in front of the children, Phil? Why, it could ruin them for future generations yet to come. Fuck the children. Why, you could make them unproductive members of American society. And ruin them before we had a chance to brainwash them. Phil, goddamn it, you can't just be going around saying fuck. Look at what you can do. Well, I wondered about some of the words I can say in front of the children. And I wondered about some of the words I'm supposed to say in front of the children. And I wondered about some of the words we say to the children every fucking day on the TV set. Like bombs and missiles. Bombs and missiles you can say to the children all day long. You can say bombs and missiles to the children and no one's gonna care. You can tell that we make the best damn bombs and missiles anywhere. Well, you can tell them get a job, get a job, get a job, and slave the rest of your lives for $5.15 an hour and die miserable and broke just like good old mom and dad living the American dream. Have a happy fucking day, fucking happy day, happy fucking have a goddamn happy fucking day. Have a happy fucking day. I'm so fucking happy. Why, you know, son, you can grow up one day and be the president of the United States of America with a mindless puppet on a string and doesn't even know who's pulling it anymore. Maybe you can grow up and be a prison guard. You know, I don't want you to get me wrong. I got a kid of my own, and every day I gotta look at her and I gotta think, you know what I'm gonna say to her, what I'm not gonna say to her, and who's gonna say the things that I don't say to her, and what they're gonna say about the things that I don't say about her, and on and on and on and on and on. Well, I think I'm not gonna use words like mutually assured destruction in front of my children. Bombs, intercontinental ballistics, smart bombs, and cruise missiles in front of my children. Oh, but shoot me dead with a cruise missile, I might say fuck in front of my daughter. I'm gonna say fuck, you fuck safe and you shoot clean, goddammit, you fuck the partner of your choice, the gender of your choice, the species of your choice, the age of your choice. If anybody doesn't fucking like it, why, just don't fuck them, alright? I'll fucking teach them. Why, you fuck anybody you wanna fuck it, if anybody doesn't fucking like it, it's none of their fucking business anyway. You know, so many people so repressed about the word fuck. Second only to the word masturbation. Oh, but you know, of all the fucking in the world that you can do in all the ways that fucking could, you know, change your life or, you know, ruin your life, why, none of them are dangerous. It's fucking with a cruise missile in your head. Have a happy fucking day. Oh, you know, someday maybe you could grow up and have $20,000 million and you can go and petition the FCC for a license to, you know, spout your views out on the radio, and, you know, why, then every time you do, you get a fine. Why, every time you say the word fuck, you could receive a $20,000 fine for saying the word fuck. Why, you could receive sanctions from certain corporations for using their particular brand of smart bomb on the air. Have a happy fucking day. Have a happy fucking day. A fucking happy day. Happy fucking happy. Have a goddamn happy fucking day. A fucking happy day. Oh, happy. Be happy, Bob. glasses and geodesic domes. Why, I'm happy that our country has more killing capacity than any country on the face of the planet. Able to blow up more of the planet than any other country on the face of the planet. Oh, aren't you proud to be an American? In the land of the freaks and home of the wage slaves. To have the God-given right to dig through the dumpster of your choice and eat all the contents within your heart's desire. Provided the cops ain't watching you, you got bolt cutters, cause dumpster diving's against the law. Have a happy fucking day, fucking happy day, happy fucking happy, have a goddamn happy fucking day, a fucking happy day. Oh, 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 I'm happy.
Your hair's falling out, Bill. I'm happy.
Are you happy? You, on the phone, are you fucking happy?